Hey guys, thank you for watching the Slat Rock channel. You know, getting a wrestler over isn't an exact science. You can push a wrestler all you want, but if the fans don't like them, then you've got a Roman Reigns on your hands. Compare this to Reigns' cousin The Rock, who got pushed too fast and the fans hated him, only to get over by hard work and reinventing himself. In a perfect world, the WWE would have a fistful of main eventers like it did when Steve Austin, Mick Foley, The Rock, Undertaker, and Triple H headlined. Sadly, WWE fans know that Vince McMahon isn't afraid to shove a pet wrestler down the fans' throats, whether they like him or not. Here are 13 wrestlers that the WWE tried to make main event players out of, only for things to fail. As Clint Eastwood famously said in Magnum Force, a good man always knows his limitations. Vladimir Kozlov. Foreign menaces have been a mainstay of professional wrestling, and the WWE wisely used Kozlov's Russian background to build him up as a foreign villain looking down on wrestlers. Despite a fearsome look and a legitimate championship background in martial arts, Kozlov failed to get over. He got an early push against undercard performers like Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, and Jimmy Wang Yang before demanding tougher competition. Things seemed headed his way when he worked a program with Triple H and Jeff Hardy over the WWE Championship. Although Kozlov didn't win the belt, he stayed strong. Then he was inexplicably thrown into ECW, wrestling Matt Hardy for the ECW title. An alliance with Ezekiel Jackson and William Regal did him no favors either. The writing was on the wall when Kozlov teamed with comedy act Santino Marella, and Kozlov's tough-as-nails character quickly sank into goofy angles like dance-offs. A 76-day WWE Tag Team title reign with Marella provided a brief spark of hope before they dropped the belts to the Core, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, on February 20, 2011. By now, Kozlov was cemented in the mid-card act, and his main event push was long gone, the victim of bad booking. Kozlov worked as a pro on NXT before making one last contribution to the WWE, putting Mark Henry over in an angle on the August 5, 2011 SmackDown, where Henry kayfabe broke his leg. Kozlov would work briefly in Japan before retiring from wrestling in 2012. Number 2, Mabel. The 6'9", 487-pound behemoth started as one half of the tag team Men on a Mission, complete with rapping manager Oscar. After turning heel and ditching Oscar, Vince pushed Mabel hard, desperately seeking a monster heel to compete with WWF champion Diesel. According to the book, Titan Sinking, Mabel got quite the push, winning the 1995 King of the Ring and then working a title program with Diesel. Mabel was portrayed as someone who could easily injure opponents. The problem is that he injured them for real, including The Undertaker. While the WWF needed some big men, they couldn't afford to lose their stars to a clumsy oaf. Mabel's push evaporated and he was gone by Royal Rumble 1996. Mabel seemed to have improved somewhat in the ring, returning to WWF in 1998 as Viscera, and later Big Daddy V, but nowhere near the main event. Number 3, Billy Gunn. Although Billy Gunn had modest success in the Smoking Guns, it was his team with the Road Dogg as the New Age Outlaws that suggested he might transition to singles stardom. The WWF gave Gunn a decent push, first having him win the 1999 King of the Ring before pitting him against The Rock at 1999 SummerSlam. After losing to The Rock, Gunn failed in his bid for Jeff Jarrett's Intercontinental Championship as well, and soon, Gunn was back to teaming with the Road Dogg. A possible program with Stone Cold Steve Austin in 2000 as the man who ran over Austin with the car was nixed by Austin himself. The reasons for Gunn's downfall are he was not well liked due to a bad attitude and bullying other wrestlers. Number 4, The Great Khali. Vince McMahon must have lost his mind when he saw the 7'1" Indian wrestler, someone he could book as a monster and tap into the Indian market. Khali got a solid push from the WWE, working a program against The Undertaker where he dominated the Dead Man. Khali avoided the ECW trap, working there briefly before going to Raw. A feud with John Cena saw Khali's first submission loss at 2007's Judgment Day pay-per-view, followed by his first pinfall loss at 2007's One Night Stand pay-per-view. After a trade to SmackDown, Khali won the World Heavyweight Championship in a 20-man Battle Royal. Khali feuded with Batista and Rey Mysterio over the belt, losing to Batista. From there, Khali slid out of the main event, working against Finlay. Despite Khali's size and appeal in the Indian market, his lack of wrestling skills and failure to improve is likely what kept him out of the top spot. Khali's downward slide was painful to watch, almost as painful as watching his matches. Number 5, The Miz. The Miz's name may be short for mystery. Mainly the mystery of how a mid-card act went to the main event player only to fall right back down the ladder. After being the runner-up in the 4th season of Tough Enough in 2004, The Miz ruffled some feathers backstage, but through hard work and determination, really improved as a wrestler and a talker. Things seemed to click when he teamed with John Morrison, winning the WWE Tag Team Championship on the August 16, 2007 SmackDown from MVP and Matt Hardy, and holding them until 2008's Great American Bash, where they lost them to Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Tag Team Gold returned on December 13, 2008 when they defeated CM Punk and Kofi Kingston for the World Tag Team Championship, losing the belts to the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Colognes, in a unification match at WrestleMania 25. Their matches and promos, as well as their talk show The Dirt Sheet, proved that they were rising stars. One might argue that the two were split up too soon, but that didn't stop The Miz from flourishing in singles competition. After winning Money in the Bank, he defeated Randy Orton for the WWE Championship on November 22, 2010's Raw. A main event program at WrestleMania 27 was overshadowed by the presence of The Rock, Miz's only role seeming to advance The Rock vs. Cena program. Since then, Miz is a constant presence in WWE's upper card, but a return to the main event seems unlikely. In his case, he filled a main event role as needed, but was never meant to keep it. Number 6. Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett got off to a strong start as the leader of the rookie group, The Nexus. Feuding with main event stars such as John Cena, Barrett got some big wins, even if they were tainted by some outside interference. After the Nexus angle ran its course, Barrett seemed ready for championships like the Intercontinental and US Championship. Still, something seemed missing. A shoulder injury in June 2014 saw Barrett sidelined until December 2014. A run as Bad News Barrett proved popular with the fans due to his catchphrase, "I'm afraid I've got some bad news." Unfortunately, management told him to turn it down, according to PW Insider, yet another sign that WWE likes to ignore its fans. Barrett had plenty of championship runs, but never won the big one. In 2015, he won the King of the Ring tournament, which meant nothing in terms of his career. Instead, he feuded with R-Truth before teaming with Stardust against Neville and Arrow star Stephen Amell at 2015's SummerSlam. There seemed to be hope when Barrett was put into the League of Nations faction, but that too went nowhere. Despite good ring skills and promos, he was released in May 2016, another example of WWE creative being an oxymoron. Number 7. Bobby Lashley. Lashley's phenomenal physique and charisma resulted in a huge push where he became ECW champion, then worked a spectacular program at WrestleMania 23 in the Battle of the Billionaires, representing Donald Trump and defeating Vince McMahon's representative Umaga. Lashley's future looked even better after a draft to Raw where he wrestled John Cena for the WWE title at 2007's Great American Bash. A shoulder surgery sidelined Lashley for 6 months, and rather than returning as expected, Lashley was released. Lashley stated in a May 2, 2008 interview on the Voice of Wrestling radio show that he was told creative had nothing to do with him. Based on this interview and an October 22, 2011 interview with Steve Gerwick of Crystal Marshall, Lashley's girlfriend at the time, backstage politics, specifically racist comments and attitudes by others, are what led to his departure. Number 8. Jack Swagger. After debuting in ECW in September 2008, Jack Swagger went undefeated, beating Matt Hardy for the ECW title 4 months later. A transfer to Raw saw Swagger competing for the US title, and his push continued, with him winning the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 26. Swagger cashed it in on the April 2, 2010 edition of Friday Night SmackDown, winning the World Heavyweight title from Chris Jericho. Jack Swagger seems to have fallen into the Ronnie Garvin trap of a mid-card wrestler given a world title run in the hope of getting him over, only for nothing to happen. Swagger's 2-month title reign seems to have been the peak of his career. While Swagger's arrest in February 2013 for driving under the influence and drug possession didn't help him, limiting his appearances to superstars and main event didn't help any, and losing his streak and overall inconsistent push have been a career killer. Number 9. Mr. Kennedy. Was Mr. Kennedy ever more than his catchphrase, Kennedy? A decent worker, he got over largely for his unique entrance promo. Vince loved it and toyed with the idea of using him as his storyline bastard son, only for a wellness policy violation in September 2007 to kill the angle. Despite a strong push, Kennedy was waylaid by the injury bug. There's no question WWE had big plans for him, but you can't have a guy main event your company from a hospital bed. Number 10. Lex Luger. Lex Luger has always been saddled with promoters' dreams of making him into the next Hulk Hogan. While Luger has a great physique and moveset, he lacked the Hulkster's charisma. Still, Luger achieved considerable success as a member of the Four Horsemen and later as WCW World Champion. Luger initially worked for Vince McMahon as part of his World Bodybuilding Federation, and after it folded, returned to wrestling as the Narcissist. When Hulk Hogan left the WWF, it only made sense to see if Luger could fill the void. The WWF turned Luger face, putting him into a patriotic program against WWF champion Yokozuna. At the time of Luger's push, Vince McMahon was indicted for steroid distribution, according to the Sex, Lies, and Headlocks book, and he had second thoughts about putting the WWF belt on Lex Luger at SummerSlam, according to the Titan Sinking book. Lex's countout win there killed a lot of his momentum since fans were expecting him to win the title. A losing effort at WrestleMania 10 against Yokozuna hurt him further, and he never recovered. Number 11, Drew McIntyre. Another one of Vince McMahon's man crushes that failed. McMahon proclaimed Drew a future world champion, even giving him special treatment on SmackDown, where McMahon would order GM Teddy Long to erase losses from McIntyre's record. With McMahon behind him on the air and in real life, McIntyre's future seemed golden. Then he inexplicably started being jobbed, relegated to dark matches, and superstars. A pairing with Heath, Slater, and Jinder Mahal as 3MB did nothing for his career. In an interview on Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast, McIntyre said he felt the wrist injury that kept him from working for 6 months killed any chance of him getting over in 3MB, as did the debut of The Shield. Number 12, John Morrison. It would take someone from the Palace of Wisdom to figure out what went wrong with the Shaman of Sexy's WWE career. John Morrison seemed set for a slow but steady build-up. After working in the successful tag team M&M, where he worked as Johnny Nitro alongside Joey Mercury, he transitioned into singles action, winning the Intercontinental Championship. A move to ECW could have been a career killer, but Nitro transformed into John Morrison, a Jim Morrison-like guru with bizarre but appealing catchphrases. After winning the ECW title, he feuded with CM Punk in a celebrated program. From there, he teamed with The Miz, winning the WWE Tag Team Championship. After the team split, things just never seemed to click for Morrison. He's had championship reigns and well-received matches, but never got a sustained shot on top. In 2011, Morrison's contract ended and he took time off from wrestling to heal injuries. Since then, he's had considerable success in Lucha Underground and the AAA promotion. A return to the WWE seems possible, but not to the main event. Number 13, Ryback. Ryback had the muscle-bound look and size that Vince dreams of for future superstars. Ryback got a 38-match winning streak, building up anticipation as well as drawing criticism from some for being a Goldberg ripoff, as he earned his first WWE Championship match, competing unsuccessfully at 2012's Hell in a Cell against CM Punk. Ryback continued battling Punk, only to fall victim to interference from The Shield. Ryback's pairing with Curtis Axel amounted to nothing, and frequent turns killed momentum. Given Ryback's very vocal frustration with management, few should have been surprised when he decided to sit out his contract in May 2016. Creative's revolving door heel and face turns were clearly bad booking, hurting Ryback's momentum, but he also deserves blame for getting his head too big. Well guys, that's our list. Did we leave anybody off? Is there anybody else you can think of that got pushed to the moon but failed in WWE? If you like this video, don't forget you can hit that subscribe button and get more videos just like this one. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and as always, thanks for watching.